All right, in this one we're gonna do steps 59 through the last steps, or I think it's 59 through 90 on this freeCodeCamp course for pyramid generator in JavaScript. So next we're gonna do to use your testing value, return it out of the pad row function by updating your return statement to return only the test variable. So right now we're gonna just make this return test. There we go. An important thing to know about the return keyword is that it does not just define a value to be returned from your function. It also stops the execution of your code inside a function or block statement. This means any code after a return statement will not run. Now this does not this is true, but if you're using an if statement, then you can have multiple return statements. So if you have an if, I think you've seen in my Code Wars videos, if you have an if statement that has like if the number is positive, return X, and if the number is negative, return Y. That's two return statements, and those are both part of that if statement. So that's fine. But if you have just two, if you have like this return test and return not test, it would only return test. It wouldn't return not test. So they want us to console log this works, the console. So it doesn't work when you put it after, but when you put it before, it works. So they want us to put it after. Maybe they want us to do it both places. Yeah, they want us to put it both places. So see how this one's grayed out because it comes after the return statement, and this one's fine because it comes before the return. So you want to make sure your return, whatever you're returning, comes at the end of your function. Now your call variable has the value testing, but your function is no longer using the name parameter. Remove the name parameter from your function declaration. And remove camper chan string from your pad row call. Also remove both console logs. There we go. Because your function is no longer using the parameter, changing the argument did not affect it. Go ahead and remove the test declaration and return statement from the pad row so the function is empty again. Nice. As expected, your function now returns undefined again. Your call variable is not necessary anymore, so remove the call declaration and the console log. In order to know how to format a row, your pad row function will need to know which row numbers you are on and how many rows are in total are being generated. The best way to do this is by creating a function parameters for them. Give your pad row function a row number and a row count parameter. In a function, the return keyword is used to specify a return value. So we're going to use the return keyword to return the value of the character variable repeated row number times. So return character times row number. Okay. You should use the repeat method. You should use the repeat method on your character variable. Okay, character repeat row number. So that's the same thing as I was trying to do. I was trying to do character times row number, but this is just character repeat row number, so it's kind of the same thing. Replace the character repeat Replace the character repeat 1 plus I in your push call with a function call for the pad row function. Do not add any arguments to it yet. So replace the character that repeat 1 plus I in your push call with a function call for your pad row function. With a function call for your pad row function. What we're going to do is we're going to do pad row. Let's reset this. Okay. Oh, there we go. No. You should call your pad row in your push call. Let's reset this. We got to go back here. Curriculum, JavaScript. We're on step like 63. So we're just kind of repeating ourselves here. Actually, let's just, to save you time, let's go back to curriculum, JavaScript, 66, menu, curriculum, JavaScript, 65. So yeah, what we want to do is copy this, copy, return character times repeat row number. Next, we want to do a rows push, pad row. There we go. So what we're doing is we're just, for the rows, we are just pushing this function that we created right here, this function. Next, pass I plus 1 and count as the arguments to your pad row call. Pass I plus 1 and count as the arguments to your pad row. So I plus 1 and count. Okay. Remember that you can use the plus operator to concatenate strings like this. Use the addition operator to concatenate a single space to the beginning and end of your repeated character. Return this plus that plus that. There you go. So we're just taking what we have there and then adding a space to the beginning and end. Empty spaces have been replaced with inner punks or middle dots for readability. If you extrapolate the pattern, you can see that the spaces at the beginning and the end of a row follow a pattern. Update your blank space strings to be repeated. Row count minus row number times. Let's see. Row count minus row number. I guess we just do dot repeat. Is this row count minus row number? Yeah, there we go. So we're adding just that repeat to the string itself. Row count minus row number. Yeah, that works. Update the character value to be repeated 2 times row number minus 1. 2 times row number minus 1. There we go. Now we got a nice pyramid going there. Update your iteration statement in the for loop to use addition assignment. So instead of this, we can just make it I equals plus equals 1. So that if you just want to add something quickly, you can make it plus equals times equals minus equals will be that thing plus that, like I plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. Instead of making it I equals plus 1, or yeah, I plus 1. Instead of this, that's kind of redundant. So we do I plus equals 1. And even more succinct is I plus plus, which is the most common way you'll see it. Okay, and that's what we're doing for this one, which is I plus plus. Rather than having to pass I plus 1 to your pad row call, you can instead start your loop at 1. This would allow you to create a 1 indexed loop. Update your iterator start at 1 instead of 0. There we go. Update the first argument of your pad row call to be I. The first argument of your pad row call to be I. There we go. Unfortunately, now the bottom of the pyramid has disappeared. This is because you've created another off by 1 error. Your original loop went for I values from 0 to 7 because count is 8, and your condition requires I to be less than count. Your loop is now running I from 1 to 7. Update your loop to run while I is less than or equal to count. This will allow for that last row. Yep. Comments can be helpful for commenting things out. So add a single line comment above your for loop to remind yourself to change the code to a different kind of loop. Okay. Give it some time here. Okay. Next, use a multi-line loop to turn your current for loop, including the body, into a multi-line comment. So we start with this, or this, and then a star, end it with a star, and then this. And that comments that whole section out. Create an if statement with the boolean true. With true as the condition. True. If true, condition is true. That's what I put. 1 second. Oh, maybe we just gotta do that. Oh, you want to console log it? Console log. Yeah, that's what we want. There we go. And you can check here to see what's going on with the code you write here. You'll see the string printed in the console because true is in fact true. Change the statement to false. Now the string is no longer printing because false is not true. But what about other values? Try changing the condition of the string to false. Try changing your if condition to an empty string, which is a falsy value. A falsy value is the opposite. A value considered false when evaluated as a Boolean. JavaScript has a defined list of falsy values. Some of them include false, 0, empty string, null, undefined, and not a number. So basically we changed it to a false value. If the first condition is false, JavaScript will check the next condition in the chain. So this is showing the if-else statements that we talked about before in other videos. So below your if statement, add an else if statement that checks if 5 is less than 10. Then inside the body of the else if statement, log the string 5 is less than 10. So else if 5 is less than 10, console log 5 is less than 10. There we go. To see the results in the console, add an else block to the else if statement. So basically, usually you do an if, else if, however many else ifs, and then else will be anything else that's not if or else if. So add an else block to the else if block. Inside the else block, log the string. This is the else block. Else console log. There we go. Now that you have practiced working with if else statements, you can remove them from your code. Once you complete that, use let to declare a continue loop and assign it a boolean of false. Then use let to declare a done variable and assign it a value of 0. Use that syntax to declare a while loop with continue loop as the condition. So I'm not an expert at while loops. It's not my favorite, but we'll do them anyway. So while continue loop is the condition, we're going to leave the body empty. To avoid this, start by using the increment operator to increase the value of done variable inside your loop. So basically while continue loop equals false. So right now, if you change continue loop to true, your while loop will run forever. This is called an infinite loop, and you should be careful to avoid these. An infinite loop can lock up your system, requiring a full restart to escape. To avoid this, start by using the increment operator to increase the value of done variable inside your loop. So we're going to do done plus plus. There we go. So basically it's saying we're going to add just one value to done. So 1, 2, 3, as long as this continue loop equals false. Below done inside your loop, add an if statement. This statement to check if done is equal to count. If done is equal to count, and remember, when we're defining variables or whenever we're defining a variable, we use one equal sign. But whenever we're checking if something's equal to something in an if statement, we use 2 or 3 equal signs. Below done plus plus inside your loop, add an if statement. The statement should check if done is equal to count. If done is equal to count, use the equality operator. So if that's all we're doing. Nice. Update your done equals count condition to use the strict equality. So strict equality is when they're so basically this is something we should talk about. So the equality operator can lead to some strange behavior in JavaScript. For example, the string 0 is equal to 0 is true, even though one is a string and one is a number. The strict equality means that they have to both be the same type and the same number. So it'd have to be literally 0 is equal to 0, not the string 0 is equal to 0. So if done is literally equal to count, then it will be the strict equality. When done has reached the value of count, we want to stop the loop executing. Inside your if statement, assign the boolean false to your continue loop. Continue loop equals false. To make your pyramid generate again, push the result of calling pad row with done and count as the arguments to the rows array. So we're going to do rows dot push pad row, our function, with done and count as the arguments. There we go. The strict inequality operator basically checks if something is not strictly equal to something. So basically, when you use this exclamation mark before an equal sign, it checks that something is not equal to that. So update your while loop condition to check if done is not equal to count. We actually just want to have one of these. No. So that's very odd. That should work. I don't know why that's not working. It's got to run tests. That's interesting. We're going to skip that one. So we're on step 91. We're going to skip it. This actually goes all the way to 118, so we'll see if we can get through all of them. 92, since you have moved the comparison into the while condition, you can, oh, I see what they were asking for. They wanted us to do it in the while loop here. So you can remove the entire if statement. Your loop is no longer relying on the continue loop variable. This makes the variable an unusual declaration. Remove your continue loop. Update your loop's condition to check if done is less than or equal to count. I think we're gonna finish this section in another video. So we're at 95 and we'll end with 118. So thanks for watching, and we will continue with in another video. Thank you.